Oftentimes, you're going to run into a situation where you have a process that has multiple steps and you want to monitor the process from end to end, but you have to have different forms or different data that you capture on each step of the process. And so you want to build an app that walks your users through this step-by-step process, making sure that if step one's not complete, they can't move to step two. And there is a variety of ways to do this inside of AppSheet. And so I'm going to show you one of those ways in this video. So looking at the screen here, we have a process where a new service ticket gets created. So we're repairing some sort of item. And our ticket is the database object that we're going to say represents the whole process. Okay, so the new ticket gets created whenever the part is submitted for repair. That's step one. Step two is the item then gets inspected. If that inspection passes, then that goes to the ticket repair process. But if it fails, they need to repeat the inspection. So repeat the ticket inspection. Obviously, this is an imaginary use case. I'm just creating some common patterns that you'll see in actual business stuff. This is just super simplified. If it passes, it goes to the ticket repair status, or the ticket status becomes the repair. So this new ticket would have a status that changes from inspection to repair. And then it goes through that process. Somebody will fill out the form. If that status is passing, then the ticket moves to a completion status and they don't need to do anything else. But if it fails, they need to repeat the repair. Okay, so we have two pass-fail loops. And then after each step, the status of the ticket is updated, ultimately completing the status or completing the life cycle of the ticket once the repair is passed. Okay, so the two tools that we're going to use or focus on to make this happen is for the dynamic ticket statusing, we're going to use a virtual column to conditionally change and automatically change the status based on where somebody is in this process. And then to move people into the next phase of the process, according to the appropriate logic here, we're going to use deep links inside of action buttons on the ticket level to navigate us around. So if we take a look at this app, I will show you the spreadsheet here. We have 4 tables. We have a ticket. This is the highest level item, our highest level object in our database. You'll get a ticket number, you'll declare what item it is, and then set the start date. When it's finished and the status changes to complete, it'll set the finish date. Notice I don't have a column for status here. That's because it's going to be a virtual column in AppSheet. And then I have a table for my inspection form. Notice that it references the ticket ID here, and I have a header column for a show column in my form, so it's a little more recognizable. And then I have a repair form. It happens to be almost identical to the inspection form, but I would imagine in your business process that these two forms are more distinct. Otherwise, you could technically join them into one table. Again, I have the show column, I have my key column, and then I have a reference to the ticket. And then I have a table of staff, just because that's a best practice. And it will mark which staff performed what part of the ticket lifecycle. Now, I've gone ahead and set up the foundation of this app. I brought all the tables in and I've set their column types and everything like that. So we have a single view here that if I press add, I'm going to start a new ticket. Okay, I'm hiding the key columns right now just because, I don't think everybody needs to see them, but I do have a human readable ticket number that I'm using to kind of just uniquely identify this to the user, not to the app. So the item is going to be a airplane, for instance. And notice start date sets automatically. I have an initial value here of today, and the finish date does not have an initial value. And then I'm going to save that. Okay, so what I want to do is that when there is nothing done yet, so the ticket's just been created, I want a status, a virtual column, to tell me the status is pending inspection. So that means it's pending somebody adding an inspection record, which I have referenced here on the ticket ID column. If you don't know how to connect tables in AppSheet, You might check out some other videos on our channel. We have quite a bit about data structure and normalization and how to reference tables. So this one's connected to the ticket table. Same on the repair table. It is connected to the ticket. So and then those are related here in these two virtual columns, related inspections and related repairs. Okay. I'm going to add a virtual column to represent our status. And I'm going to write some logic to define the value of this status column. So if the ticket exists, but both the related inspections column and related repairs column are empty, then I want this to be inspection pending. Okay. So both of these things need to be true. This is a list type. So usually the way I test to see if a list is empty, I use a count expression. And if the count is equal to 0, then I know it's empty. Okay, that's my first condition. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for related repairs. And this is going to be part of more than one condition. So I'm putting it in an ifs. Okay, so if this condition is true, it should be status related, not related, pending inspection. And I'm going to call this, I'm actually going to put a 1 here because I want to sort it later. And so if I make it numerical, it sorts a lot easier. And then I have to give a default, otherwise the expression's not going to like me. We'll just call it error for now. Okay. And AppSheet should tell me if I did that right or wrong. It says I did it wrong. Oh, I need a parenthesis right here. Close my and. Well, one or more. I don't think I have to put a default, so I'm not. Excellent. Okay. Done. Save. And now I'm going to group my view here. I'm going to actually change it to a deck view type because I think it's a little bit easier to visualize what we're trying to achieve here. I'm going to put a grouping by the status so we can see pending inspection. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a count because I like to put those little aggregates on there. And then I'll leave everything else as auto and sort. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We'll save that. Now that we have our first status, we're going to add our first behavior. So when the ticket is in pending inspection status, we want the next behavior to be that they open an inspection form. So I'm going back to the app. I'm going to create an action button, and I'm going to say plus inspection. So like new inspection. That looks funny. I'll just call it new. And there's the button. I'm going to give it a different thing. Let's have a search. And we'll do that. Okay. And the do this. Okay. This is going to be a app. Go to another view within this app. Okay. And it pre-populates with a link to view to the same ticket table. Now that's not what I want to do. I want to open an inspection form. Okay. So I'm going to go to deep links. There's a special one when you want to create a new record. You can do link to form, and so it opens up a form for whatever view you tell it to open, that is. And then you can pre-populate some columns, which I'm going to pick a view here, and this is going to be inspection form. And I'm going to not pre-populate any columns just yet. Let's see if we get the, I have to, well, I was going to show you what happens if you don't do that, but I might as well just show you what happens when you do, or what we need to do specifically. So we want this inspection to relate to the ticket that we're pressing the button on. So we want to pass this row's ID and fill the inspection row's ticket ID. So this would be the name of the column we want to fill, ticket ID, and then the value we want to fill it with. And it's in the context of the current row that we're working in, or current table, which is the ticket table, or a row in the ticket table. I'm going to put ID right there. Okay, so now when we press the button, it should open a new inspection form, a new related inspection, and it should pre-populate the ticket, or the ticket number of what we're working on. So OYFX4C, there we are. Ticket ID is set. And now I want a condition on this. Well, we'll deal with conditions in a second. Let's just get the process down. So we need one for new inspection, and then we're going to need another one for new repair. And we don't want to go to the inspection form. We want to go to the repair form, which I think that's the name of it. We'll look here in Career Tools and find the view, repair form. Okay. That's looking good. And appearance, repair, let's get a wrench. Is that an option? Yes. Okay. We'll save that, and then we're going to test it. Okay, there we are in our repair form. I want to pre-fill the staff member. Let's just go ahead and go over here to inspection and repair for staff. Let's put the initial value. Our email column is the key column for that table, so I'm going to use the user email expression to populate the current email, or the email of the current user. And I'm going to make sure this reference is pointed to the right table. It is. Okay. And for our repair, are you pointed to the right table? You are. Let's give you an initial value of user email. Hit save. Now, what we want to do is only show, we want the only option, actually good, I like this. I'm going to go to this view, I'm gonna hit the little hot link down here, and I'm going to limit what actions can show. So I am only going to show new inspection and new reaper. Spelled that wrong. Okay, so I want to show those actions there, but I'm going to add some conditions that they should only show on certain statuses, okay? So I want the appearance for my new inspection. Oh, not appearance, it'll be behavior. There's a condition here. And so I only want to show this when the status column is equal to pending inspection, or I'm going to make a new status called re-inspection. Whether it's either or of these. So I'm going to use the or expression. Now, if either one of these arguments is true, it will return true. And there we go. Now I'm going to perform an inspection. Well, let me put this repair here. I'm going to give a conditional to this as well. I want this to be or status equals pending repair, or oops, status equals re-repair. Okay. Great. I'll save that. Now it's not showing me anything here, and I actually don't know what the status is, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in the secondary header position. I'm going to put the status. Oh, I put the number 1 there. That'll do it. Behavior or 1 pending inspection, or 1 point, call it 1.1 reinspection. That's kind of odd, but I still want it to be sequential, so that's where I'm landing on that one. And then step 2, that's right, in behavior, you are going to be step 2 pending repair, 2.1 re-repair. Okay. Excellent. Now I'm going to save that, and I should see this action button. Why didn't it give me my hourglass, my looking glass? Search. That's the one I wanted. Okay. So now let's work with the virtual column and make sure that this status column updates appropriately as we go through the flow of events. So first thing I want to test is a failed status inspection. Okay, so now we have a blank status and we have 1 inspection that is failed. Okay, you see the N right here. So I want to build a condition that looks through related inspections and finds if there is any true or past inspection. Okay, so the way I can do that is I want to look and see if any record in my related inspections is status equals yes. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a select expression, and I can actually select from this virtual column because it's a related list. So AppSheet treats it a bit like a table. So I'll search this related list, and I want to look to see if the status column is equal to yes or true. Since this is a yes/no column type, it could be true or yes. And I want to do the count of that. So when the count of that is greater than 0, and then I also need to do the count of related repairs is equal to 0. Because, you know, you could continue on in the process and complete repairs, and then it would still be telling you that this thing is true. Okay, so that's not what we're looking for. I need to close that parenthesis for my count, and then close that count, close the and. All right, and then so if that is the case, I want this to be 1.1 re-inspection. It doesn't like me again. Did I close that and correctly? Yes, I did. Oh, I didn't put a comma here. And it says it has invalid inputs. I need to put the ID column there. Can I compare list with number? Where am I going wrong? I need to do the count around that. That's it. Okay, there we go. This gets a little tedious. As you can tell, these deep conditionals can be a little bit sketchy, but this is the type of business logic that really drives process-related workflows, okay? All right, so if I save that, our status should be 1.1 reinspection. It's not telling me the view ticket detail. Why is it not showing me the status of this thing? Should be showing me status. Do I have some weird condition on status that it wouldn't show? No. Let's go here. All right, it's not giving me the status. So let me try true here. That's not how you spell true. Because this should be true. There should be at least one record. Oh, no, because it's false. So status is less than 0, and the count of related inspections is not 0. Okay, so this is starting to get pretty hairy. All right, I'm going to break this out so we can see all the conditionals here. So the count of related inspections is not 0. So that means we have done an inspection. The inspection done is not true yet. It's not status equals true. Less than 1 or equal to 0. Equal to 0. And it does not. Okay, yes. And then related repairs is still equal to 0. This is status 1 reinspection. All right, there we go. Now I still have my new inspection button, and I'm going to say true. We're fully inspected. Yay. Save. All right, so now I have 1 here, and now my status is back to blank. Okay, so now I can add another condition. And it's going to be pretty similar here. So it will be add a comma, new line, I'm going to paste that in. When equals true is greater than 0, the related inspections is not blank, and related repairs is still blank. This becomes 2.0 pending repair. All right, there we are, pending repair. And again, I already set my condition for my action button. So I should be able to press this action button and start a repair. Failed. Okay, now we're blank again. This should be now status 2.1 re-repair. And the condition is going to be similar to this one. So I'm going to just copy it, paste it. And now instead of selecting related inspections and looking for status true, we're going to be looking at related repairs, if I can spell it. And notice the ID I put right here. This is a little bit of a nuance when you use related lists. The related list acts like the table name in this pattern. And then sometimes you still have to put the square bracket and the column name that you want to return from that table list. So that's just a nuance there. So the status equals true is not 0 or is 0. And I want related inspections doesn't equal 0 and related repairs doesn't equal 0. So this becomes 2.1 repair. And I don't need that comma. All right, that's looking nice. Now my action button is there. Status completed, yes. This one's done. Happy signature. Save. And now I want a new status for complete. Okay. So this is my final status. It's going to be similar to this guy. Oh, what did I do there? I removed my quote here. We'll make this 3 completed. And I want it to be count of related inspections. Status is true, greater than 1 or greater than 0. And then count of related repairs, greater than 0. Oh, wait. Close the and, comma. There we go. Number 3 completed. Okay. Now we should have status completed on this guy. Not working. Let's, greater than 0. Greater than 0. Yes. Okay, there we are, completed. Now, I did mention that I wanted to populate the finish date. So whenever that record was finished, I want its finish date to populate here. So let's say this came in on the 19th. And I'm going to delete that last completed repair. So this guy right here, going to delete him. And we're going to, so what we want to happen is when the repair completes and its status is true. So yes, this is a completed repair. Then we want to fill today's date in the finish date column of our parent record. All right, so that would be our ticket. So let me create an action that is going to happen. It's going to be initiated on the repair table. So this is going to be complete, let's say, mark, ticket, finish, date. Okay. Now, the way that you do an action on one table that affects rows in another table is you have to use data action, do this, execute an action on a set of rows. So it asks you for the reference table, and then it populates referenced rows. So what rows in this ticket table should be affected by this action? All right, and it went ahead and guessed, which is a great guess. It knows that I have a reference in my repair table to the parent ticket, and AppSheet knows that it has to be of list data type here. So this is expecting a list data type. So it wrapped this in a list expression, making it a list of one item. So it will now perform this action, whatever I put here, on this list of tickets, which is going to be 1, and it'll be the one related to this repair. Now I don't want to do this edit action. I want to do a set finish date action, which doesn't exist yet. So I will do set finish date, and I will use this one. Set values of some column to today. And then now I'm going to come back over here, mark it as finished, I'm going to do the set finish date. Now I want this to happen automatically, okay? So you can do this in a workflow. You can make a workflow that triggers on a it's a data change workflow, so it performs an action. That's good if you're doing like multi-row updates or different things that are pretty data intensive. This one's fairly light, and so I'm going to do it on with just a normal action condition. So here's my condition that the status is equal to true. So that's the only time this will fire. And just to test, because I'm not going to, this is not going to be a button press. This is going to be an event action that happens on form save. All right. So I'm going to put a confirmation and say this will mark the ticket complete. And then by default, it's going to use this name here in the button, which is kind of weird. So I'm just going to say finish. That's a little bit more, makes a little bit more sense to the user when they see this confirmation prompt. And then I'm going to go into my repair form. And down here in behavior, you can set an event action. And I want that to be mark ticket finish date. So again, it'll only fire this when the status is true. And we know that's the last event in our sequence of events. So now when I come in here and repair, actually, so we can kind of see it quickly, I'm going to put the finish date up in the top right in my summary position. Now I'm going to press this. Status is yes. Done. So happy. We get our confirmation. That's good. That's a great sign. I'll press finish, and there we are. Our finish date has appeared. We're going to sync that back to the other side of the app, and we can see in our ticket table we have a finish date. You can look for a link to this app. We're going to make it public in the description of this video so that you guys can refer to it and kind of work backwards, reverse engineer any parts that you are confused about, or maybe look deeper into that conditional statement. If you want to learn more about AppSheet and how to, take advantage of all of its awesome features, check us out at appsheettraining.com. We have on-demand courses. We have a tool called AppSheet IQ, and we do weekly webinars. So we'd love to see you around. Thanks.